Coming up on Sam's Motor and Machine, I get annoyed by Land Rover engineers.
Remember when alternators used to just be 4 bolts and half an hour to change? Yeah, I do too. Why can't I put it there, or there, or there, or there, or there, or there? Not there.
And I take up my pent-up frustration on the Range Rover.
So we're back, guys. It's now Tuesday afternoon. I've just taken half a day off work to try and get this done because the weather's good today, but it's set to turn absolutely horrible over the next week or so. We're due a storm here, so I want to get this done as soon as possible. So we've got our new bits. This is what I was waiting for last week. We've got a new tensioner, which is from All Makes, an idler, bear mark, another idler, All Makes. And we've actually got 2 genuine idlers as well, which I wasn't expecting, so that's nice to have. The main thing I was avoiding was Britpart bearings. All Makes and bear mark are perfectly good stuff, so I'm happy to fit them and be confident in their quality. So yeah, let's get cracking. First thing I'm going to do is chuck the new alternator in there. Well, I say chuck, it's more kind of like awkwardly handle because it's really heavy and it's going down very deep into the engine bay, so yeah, this is going to be fun.
Hey guys, Future Sam here. Apologies for interrupting the video, but I have a quick favour to ask you guys. Ben from Ben's Garage and I are going to be doing a collaboration video soon, which is going to be a Q&A video or questions and answers. But the only trouble is we need questions from you guys. So if you've got any questions you'd like to ask us, either of us, anything at all, just pop the questions down below and we'll add it to the list. Cheers, I'll let you get back to the video now. Oh, and don't forget to leave a like. Cheers.
So, got my bolts here for the alternator. This is the one that goes in the top, shorter one, and then there's 2 longer ones that go through these 2 mounting holes here. So first I've got to drop it into position and then basically connect the electrical connectors up before I actually bolt it into position, because you can't reach the back of the alternator once it's in position, which is just fabulous. Yeah, like that. So just lower it into position. Try not to smash the radiator up in the process. So these alternator wires actually have a little tab that they locate into the back of the alternator to keep the wire at a set angle. You've got to make sure that goes in there when you tighten it up, otherwise the cable will probably be loose. So let's cover that up. So next thing to do is actually going to be to lift the alternator into place and try and get a couple of bolts in just to hold it up. So we're going to get one of the longer ones in one hand, try and manoeuvre it into position. Double check all our wiring first. There we go. So it's quite tight to actually get the alternator into its position where it lives. So that's a couple of bolts in there now, guys, holding it in. Just got to put this last bolt in, and then that's the alternator mounted. Just got to torque them up as well. There's a lot more of a fight getting it in than it was getting it out, I'm telling you now. But she's in position and all wired up, so it should be good. Okay guys, they're done up nice and tight. Alternator's now mounted. If only that was the end of the job right now, but it's not. I've not torqued those because there's no way I'm getting my torque wrench down there, but they're nice and tight, so they're not coming off. Right, next we are going to start pulling some pulleys off, which I think means we need to prise off some little caps. So next job is going to be to start pulling these pulleys off. Most of them have got a little plastic cap covering the bearing and the screw on the front, so I'll have to prise them off with something. I think I'll start first with the this pulley here, because it's actually covering the bolts for the idler, for the tensioner. So we'll get that one off and then get the tensioner replaced. I just use this little pick to pull off the front cap that covers the bearing and the screw on the front. Worked quite well. So that looks like a 15. No, it's bigger, 17. So there's our first idler off, guys. So there's a fair bit of play in that. It's not too bad actually, this one. It probably would have gone again, but best to be on the safe side, eh? Okay, next it's a couple of 10 mils to get the tensioner off. Let's get an extension on here so we're not working against ourselves. I will actually torque all this stuff back up on the front of the engine because there's plenty of space to get my torque. Plenty of space to get my torque wrench in. Okay, there's our old 190,000 mile tensioner. This actually feels a bit alright as well. It's mainly the other three that are dodgy. But we're changing the whole tensioner, so here's our new one. Okay, snug those up, then I'll get the torque wrench. Okay, next we got this pulley to get back on. This is an all makes one. So this is our 80mm pulley, which funnily enough requires an 80 Newton meter torque setting. Which is just there. Feels very nice. Okay, next, what have we got? Let's go for this guy at the top here. Just a quick SAM cam to show you guys how it's looking at the moment. There's our new tensioner and there's our new 80mm idler that we fitted. Next one I'm going to do is this one up here. Don't know how this view is going to work, but we'll see what it looks like on the PC, I guess. There we go. Is that cap? Oh, I just remembered. I remembered to put the caps back on again once I've replaced them. It's a bit of a shame they don't give you new caps with these new pulleys, but never mind. I expect that's a separate part that Land Rover charges you for. There we go. Okay, so we've got a 13mm head in there. Okay. And its replacement, which is genuine Land Rover this time. Bearing feels lovely and greasy. Okay, snug this up with the ratchet and then switch to the torque wrench. So that's a 65mm pulley, so we require 48 Newton meters of torque. Let's get it on. Could do with an extension. Nice. Okay, that is 1, 2, 3 bits replaced. Whoa! Okay. I'll move the SAM cam over a bit Hopefully you guys can see that pulley and that pulley to be replaced now. Let's start with this lower one. Can't forget the caps. Where did that just drop to? What size we got there? Another 17. Oh. That was pretty tight. Okay, so this one comes like a sort of a plate behind it and a long bolt. It sits on the front like that, so it's going to match that up with the new parts. So that's how the old one came off, with this kind of thin washer on the back side of it. And the new one has been supplied with the washer on this side. Might have to consult the Oracle, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to put it back the way the one that just came off. Which would be, so I'm going to put it on the way it came off the car, because obviously that hasn't caused any issues in the last God knows how many miles, so it's going to go back on that way around. So there we are guys, that's all our lovely new fittings, pulleys fitted and tensioner fitted, all ready to go. Ready to do another 190,000 miles. Right, next it's going to be belt. This is going to be fun because I've got to try and figure out which order it goes around all those many pulleys and idlers. Wish me luck. So here's our new belt. It's a Gates Micro V 6PK 2520. 6PK meaning 6 peaks in the belt itself, and 2520 being the length in millimeters. Now, I did take some pictures of how this went, but I still don't think it's going to be very easy. I think it went down through there like that. So there you go guys, I've got the belt mostly in position now. It didn't actually have to push through anywhere apart from when you want to come back onto this idler, which gives you the wrap around the main crank pulley. You just sort of push a loop through this gap here to hook around the idler, and then you can just finish off the rest of the routing in a minute. So I think I'm pretty much there now. Looks good to me. So I think I've got the belt in all the right places, going the right way around all the pulleys. I've just made sure that most of my pulleys are as lined up as they can be. And I'm just going to take my wrench on the tensioner, apply a bit of torque. We should be able to just pop a belt on, like so. Easy as that. Just want to check that the belt is seated in all the right places. See, it's not quite sat over the pulley here, so I can just release the tension and fix that in a minute. Let's check all the other ones. The belt will naturally sort of want to self-centralise once it's running, but you want to start it off as close to where it's going to be as possible. Also not quite right here, if you guys can just about see that. It's just sat over the edge of the pulley, so just take the tension off again and reset it. Just push that over, push that in. That's looking a lot better. Yes indeed. Looks good to me. Okay, on to the next stage. So just working in reverse order, this is the next pipe that I took out, so I'm going to whack that back in again. Just goes down here in front of the alternator. And there's two more little hoses that I have to connect onto that, so I'm going to need to do all those hose clips up. Need to get one of those proper hose clip tools, but it's one of those things we never got a hold of. Okay, that's this hose back in position. It's not bolted in position yet, but I've just replaced one of the hose clamps with one of those spring clips with a proper Jubilee, and just put those two little spring clips back on again. There's also another pipe I've got to fit in that comes from the bottom of the header tank here and runs through these pipes, and then it clips it into the engine at the top there next to this big one. So let's do that now. So it's time now, guys, I think, to drop the cowl back in again with the radiator fan. So I'm just trying to clear as much of the stuff out of the way as I can. There's a couple of dangly little pipes down here which I'm going to probably get caught up on stuff, but we'll see. Connectors, tuck them out of the way if we can. And then the fan and the cowl have to both go in together. So let's give this a go. Not been looking forward to this bit. Got to kind of slowly guide it past all of the bits it gets hung up on. It's going in though. What we hung up on. Harness there. It's going in. That'd probably help if I fished if I fished the aircon hose out of the cowl there. Now, blow me down and call me Nancy. It's actually gone back in there. That's a bit of relief. Yeah, a few more things to jiggle around it, but that's pretty much back where it should be now. And all we got to do is connect all the bits up. Simples. We're about ready to chuck on the viscous fan now, which of course is a left-hand thread. So when I put this on, I will be turning it left in order to tighten it up, and then I'll be using my little tool that I made in order to completely tighten it up. Although you don't really need to get it too tight because it self-tightens as it runs, of course. Out of the way, plug. Okay, now just to tighten that up a bit. Time to use the amazing cut down spanner wedged with box section on the end tool. Sorry guys, you're not going to be able to see that much down there right now because I can't even see that much down there right now, so getting the camera down there is a nightmare. But I'm going to go and tighten up that viscous fan pulley and start putting hoses back together and stuff. Okay, managed to get a good pull on that. Yes, right. Now, I think I want to plug some plugs in that I unplugged. I want to get some fixings in this rad cowl to hold it in place. Can't promise that all of the 12 will go back in again. And and then we've got to go and put that turbo bypass valve back in again at the bottom underneath. Not looking forward to that bit either really, but we can see the home stretch now, guys. So I'm about to go under and chuck the turbo bypass valve back in again. I'm not going to be able to film this for you guys, unfortunately, because it's hard enough for me to get under there and see it myself, let alone get a camera under there as well. So I'll throw this on really quick because we're losing light pretty fast now. Before I did that though, I just gave this a bit of a lube up, this actuator arm. That was on the recommendation of a guy called Rob Holland, who has been a bit like a guiding light for me on while I've been doing this repair. He's been sending me messages and tips whilst I've been working on the Range Rover, and he recommended Advanced Factors, who are the guys that we got the pulleys from, delivered it in 2 days, which was awesome. Yeah, so I've just lubed that up just so it can't seize up. Apparently that's a problem with these, where it can seize and throw an error code, so hopefully that will stop it from doing that. But yeah, if you guys have ever seen Mighty Car Mods, go on that called Turbo Yoda, and I think I'm going to start calling Rob the Range Rover Yoda, because he's the man with the knowledge. He knows about all the fixes and the tricks on these cars. So if you head over to the Full Fat Range Rover forums, you'll see all his posts there. He's put some really good technical information up on the forum over the years. So yeah, Rob's the man in the know. With the light fading and the prospect of driving my mate's MX-5 into work for another day looming over my head, I put the GoPro onto time warp mode and set about reassembling the Rangie's engine bay at maximum speed. So I'm going to remove the bleed screw, or loosen it at least. So the next stage is going to be to connect the battery back up again, and then give her a start and see what happens. She's alive! Probably very, very cross, considering it's had its battery off for quite a while now. Got the radio on, that's a good sign. That can go off though. Okay, so one quick check around, make sure there's no tools in the way. One last check. Fan's clear. Let's have a go. Come on, girl, please don't be too angry. She's alive! Actually sounds a lot quieter than it did before. Let's add some more coolant though. Got a bit of a squeaking noise coming from one of these pulleys by the sound of it, which isn't too good. Because I think that's what it is. So as you guys can no doubt tell, the Range Rover's back on the road and she's working absolutely perfectly. new alternators in, and it's charging the battery perfectly as far as I can tell. When you guys saw the last clip of video, you'll have seen there was a bit of a squeak coming from the pulleys when I first started it up. What that turned out to be was the tensioner, the new tensioner, as it was vibrating backwards and forwards, which is normal as the belt kind of moves around, you get a slight amount of movement in the tensioner just as the vehicle's idling, and that amount of movement was just enough to make a squeak. I think something inside the tensioner was like slightly ungreased, or it just needed to wear in slightly, because now it's perfectly silent first thing in the morning. Yeah, stays silent throughout the day. So that's really good. And yeah, so far so good. I've been driving the Range Rover to work and back all week so far, since Tuesday or Wednesday. It's Friday today, and she's doing really well. So yeah, I'm really happy to be back in the Range Rover again. Yep, she's back to full health for sure. And although that alternator change wasn't particularly technically challenging, it was very fiddly, and there are a lot of parts that need to come out in order for me to get into where I needed to get to. So I probably wouldn't want to do one again, and definitely not without the use of a 4-post lift, which would make the undercar bits a lot easier than lying on the ground. But yeah, apart from that, not too bad really. I probably spent about 5 hours on it in total, which isn't the end of the world. I'll definitely say it's the most difficult alternator swap I've ever done though. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video now, guys. I hope you've enjoyed watching me working on this thing. I've got loads of Range Rover content planned coming up, but as always, if you have any ideas or suggestions, please leave a comment below. Please remember to subscribe if you haven't already, leave a like and a comment, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers guys.